Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome to this week's episode of Steelers Touch Down Under. I'm Matty Peverell, joined by Marky T, Marky Davison, as always. Mark, I almost did Steelers War Room, then I've got to say.
It's all right. Well, if you're on the video platform, if it looks like that I just woke up, it's true. I just woke up. I slept in today. Now, we normally do this, it's 8 o'clock, right? Yeah, I slept into about 7:30ish, and I was like, man, I should have got up earlier so I get myself more fresh, But here we are. So my takes today will all be wrong based off my tiredness.
Well, right. That's not very good for the listeners. If you are on the audio, the Facebook or the YouTube side of things, and audio, obviously you're listening to some replay, stay tuned because we'll get Mark fired up. If you're on the YouTube and Facebook side, jump in, throw the questions in. We talked way too much about the Bungles in the last couple of weeks. No more Bungles. There's Ali Howard. There's Daredevil. Daredevil does not miss a show. There's a radio show host in Australia that says, if you're going to miss the next show, that you'll need a note from your parents. And Daredevil has never needed a note. He is on time every week. But welcome, Ali. You're in pretty quick as well. And then you see Mark and 0-3 Super Bowl Bungles. Well done, Marky D. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, man. What are we?
Eric Askew's in there. I just got to say. Awesome, Eric Askew. He's a big supporter of mine on Twitter. Anyway, sorry, back to you, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. In the world of Steelers universe, we've now finished OTAs, so that's quite exciting, right? The rookies have been there, done their minicamp, OTAs. Everyone's now turned up pretty much. That I think there's no more drama, or not too much drama. Of course, Stephon Tuitt retired, and DJ turned back up. So. Yeah, overall, I think we're moving through this thing, and Coach Tomlin talked about it a few weeks ago of building the foundation, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. I like every single piece. Now, I am very biased, but I like a lot of their moves, what they're doing. Let's put it that way, know. And it all starts from Big Ben retiring.
It does,
and we have a better team than last year, and yet we're worse off apparently. But I like every single move that we are doing. Like offensive line, Miles Jack, the fellas getting back together, Brian Flores. I think there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, and the foundation is being laid.
Yeah. Don't give away too much of the show there. But Mark and I, in this show today, are going to talk a little bit how it's open season at the Steelers. There's openings at positions. There's opening. It's an open season. We don't know what this team is going to look like. And then Mark alluded to it there. There's a lot of criticism. There's a lot of, the Steelers are going to be fourth place in the division and all this nonsense. And actually, it's quite exciting as Steeler fans. And as Mark said there with Big Ben, this is the first time we've had such change. But I want to rewind about 6 days because, Mark, after our show overnight, the next night, on the Saturday in the US in the morning or the Friday afternoon, early Saturday, it was... Yeah, definitely. No. It was anyway, it was Saturday. You and I haven't talked about Omar Khan regardless, right? So I wanted to quickly talk about Omar Khan. What were your thoughts around that? Because, there were obviously a lot of speculation. We'd had other BTSC, podcasters or article writers talk about people like a Lewis Riddick, who I never wanted to see in this room. They went with the homegrown guy and they didn't go with Brandon Hunt. So I wanted to see what, I know I'm the big, GM show with Steelers War Room and, draft picks and salary caps and all the rest of it. But what did you think, from that pure fan perspective? What was your reaction to it?
Pure fan perspective, nothing else.
I don't care.
I don't care. Play the game, mate. Turn the game on and rock the Bengals and win week 1, 1-0. Let's go. I don't care who the GM is. From a pure fan, I'm like, I do not care who the GM is, right? However,
the Tomlin.
Yeah, we do not care. However, I reckon he's a good bloke because you think about it. If you don't know anything about him, he's been in the Steelers for 20 years, right? How is he going to fail us now after 20 years? How can he work for 20 years for an organization and then instantly become GM and go and not do things a Steeler way, right? I'm excited. I'm
Did
very
you see
excited.
Ike Taylor talking about it on Pat McAfee? That was great.
I didn't see him on Pat McAfee, but also one of his first moves was bringing back Tuitt Skipper. You know, so and
Don't.
mate, Skipper's a legend. You need to get in the Skipper train.
All right. Well, as my supporter in the live chat will agree with me, Eric Askew, I'll say it here now. Steeler fans, fight me. Tuitt Skipper is nowhere near as good as Quincy Roche. I don't care what you say.
But we haven't got Quincy Roche. We have Tuitt Skipper on the roster.
Yeah, but we drafted Quincy Roche.
You can't live in your past, Matty.
We let him go because of Jameer Jones, and look where that got us. Tuitt Skipper,
yeah,
like
I thought Jameer Jones was right.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting up for this. The guy's going to be cut, and if he's not, I'm going to be disappointed.
No way, man. He's
in the Marcus Allen carriage. You know, you like that train analogy. This is the carriage that we're cutting loose because it's slowing us down. No,
I disagree, man. There's a reason why they brought him back, right? There's a reason why they brought Skipper back for a chance to be at outside linebacker depth because we need that in that category. And he went off in 2019. He knows the system.
We need that behind Derek Tuitt, Avery, Highsmith, and what?
No, but you don't. Who knows if Tuitt or Avery will make it? I think it's going to be more QB battle.
Avery every day because he can go inside as well. Really?
Yeah, but why else you bring him back then? You bring him back to cut him again? Come on, man.
Anyone? They're bringing him back.
Don't be hating on Skipper.
I do. I don't like it. I'm out on it. But I did want to bring up Captain Underpants in the live chat. My mouse is going haywire. And he says, finally getting to hear you guys live. What's up, y'all? Marky D and Matty P in the house. Had a lot of Steel fan support. Captain Underpants, yeah, I do. I think I saw you once mention that to me in the live chat that you struggle with our show. So really excited to have you in here. Obviously, we've moved days a couple of months ago now as well to Friday night. So anyone that listens here on us, you got to go listen to Tony Duffio as well. Like the deal is you get 2 shows on Friday night and then you get to enjoy your weekend. I mean, there's still plenty of shows on BTSC, but this is your Friday night special. All right. I think from my perspective, look, I was happy it was Omar Khan. Disappointed Brandon Hunt left the organization, but you got to be prudent with money. And I said this to Bad on the Steelers Q&A last week. For people that have been long-time Steeler fans, and I'm talking like, way before you and I, like pre-2000, and for people that know that are really familiar with the organization, it's kind of not a surprise they picked the numbers guy with money. Like that's very Rooney family, very like that's very Pittsburgh Steelers franchise DNA. But all right, let's pivot to the other big news. I don't want to talk about it for too long because every podcast under the sun has talked about it. But Stephon Tuitt, obviously he announced his retirement this week. This is one that you and I have danced around for what is it, like over 12 months now almost. He's you remember, Mark, when we first started talking, who was my favorite player?
Stephon Tuitt. Haven't you got a jersey of his?
I kept talking about getting it, and then I was going to get it last season, and then he wasn't going to play. And then so I was like, oh, I'll wait till next season. And now he's retired. Now the number 91 comes up. I'm like, DeMarvin Leal, can you switch your number? Because I like 91. It was the year I was born. But obviously, I'm quite devastated. I think I've shared before on this show around the fact that I think he's in an ace. Yeah, he earned it, but he's I would say I don't want to say privilege, but he's in an interesting position being able to, enjoy or mourn, a family member, but on full pay and with the Steelers. But I understand the Steelers and I understand him not completely, saying I wanted to give it up last year. I understand the Steelers give him a shot because if he's on the roster, before last season, in 2020, he had his best year with like 11 sacks and stuff like that. He's one of the best, a top 20 defensive lineman in this league, if not top 15, top 10 when he's fit. You got to give that guy a chance. They're very hard to replace. It's really sad. It's come too early, but I don't know. To me, it sounds like he's going to be making a different sort of contribution to society, and I wish him well with that. But yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm just kind of glad that on the football side that the choice was made. Finally, we can start to move on as fans. But for him on his side, as Michael O'Malley says, that's probably the best way to put it, right? Michael O'Malley from the chat, Tuitt made a choice beyond football, nothing but love and respect.
Yeah.
Hope him all luck and happiness in the future. 100%. And I do that with every single player. I do that with every single, every person, every team except the Bengals, right? So
And choose our skipper.
Man, I'm telling you.
Just mucking with you.
I know. Okay, no, let me stop the show. Let me pause the brakes on the track. Tuitt skipper comes back like in 2 or 3 days, right? And you already want him out. That's my problem. It's not the problem.
Because I wouldn't have had him in there in the first place.
That's beyond crazy. That is. He literally got signed 2 days ago, and you want him out already. Oh. My! I hope Marcus Allen starts and wins the Super Bowl just to piss you off. All right. Crazy. I don't know if that's a crazy take or not, mate.
I'll tell you what, it's not possible. It's not possible to win a Super Bowl with Marcus Allen starting. There you go.
Why? Why is that?
Because he's not very good. If he's your middle linebacker, you've got real problems.
I'm going to stick up for these players, and if I was Marcus Allen or Tuitt skipper, I would block you from Twitter, and I would say to you, you go win the Super Bowl. You go out there and play. That's what I'm going to say.
All right.
Just give him a chance. Mate, it's been 3 days.
I'll get paid $2 million to go line up there. I'll need to put on like 20 pounds, but that's not
3 days since Skipper got back into the lineup for his team that he started with. Got jumped around from Titans to New York Giants. Hasn't done. I get it. He hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't done anything. I get it. Get it.
Sorry. Recap there. Who did he get dropped by?
Well, he got waived by the Steelers, of course, and it was the Giants and the Titans, and then went to the Falcons, and then he got waived again. Now he's back because that's Omar's.
So he's gone through 4 teams, right? And Quincy Roche has gone to the Giants and has got more. He's got better stats in less than 1 season.
I'm not comparing him to Quincy Roche.
I know. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just.
See that guy in the backhand corner there, Dearbo Harrison? He was cut 6 times. I'm telling you. You what? Have you not seen highlights of him playing in the 2019 season? How he went off? I don't know why we got rid of him. He's a star.
Did you say in the preseason?
In 2019, he had 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Also in the preseason.
Backups.
Come on! You got to start somewhere, mate. He's going to make the team, and I'm going to rub it in your face.
No way.
100%. He will. Are we frozen now? Now I've broken the internet. Are you there, Matty? All right. So now it is my turn to talk about the skipper show as Matty went out. But I do want to preface that, guys. I do want to preface that in this point as Matty's checked out for a little bit, right? The reason why I say is give Skipper a chance. If you guys listening on audio, and guys, I think I'm still live I'm still live. The reason why I say give him a chance, he literally just got back to the team like 3 or 4 days ago. There is a reason why Skipper or Tuitt skipper for an outside linebacker depth to be behind Highsmith, Watt, and Derek, number 48, and Jannard Avery. There's a chance for him to go into a camp battle. Here we go. The chance for him to go on a camp battle and prove that he can make it. All right, where'd you go?
I don't know. I think I got hacked by Tuitt skipper.
Mate, I said my piece. We can move on. You can listen to it later. But I don't understand all that hate that he's been there 3 or 4 days and you want him out.
That's what
crazy.
I don't hate him. Go after other people. There are other people right now in free agency that you go after. You don't go with Skipper. It's just not a good idea.
It's the craziest take I've ever heard in June.
It's not a crazy take. The guy's played 10 games in his career. He's been cut by 4 teams.
You got to start
He's
somewhere.
He's got half a sack in the NFL, mate. It's not a crazy take.
You got to start somewhere, mate.
Have a tackle for a loss.
You have to start somewhere. I'm telling you. There's a reason why they brought him back. I think
somewhere. He's tried to start in 4 places.
Exactly. Michael Mayer gets on my team here. Skipper looks at the part. Dude is shredded. 100%. He's
and then Michael also said earlier, I've lowered expectations this year.
Yeah, but that's to do with Ben. That's nothing to do with Skipper.
Righto. All right. Half a sack in 2 seasons. Right. He couldn't even start. He sat on practice squads. Quincy Roche, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 5 tackles for a loss, 5 quarterback hits. He's got an AV of double, approximate valuation of double what Tuitt skipper has, and he's played like only half the season.
Who's that, Skipper or Roche?
Roche.
Okay. Well, I'm not talking about Roche. I'm talking about that bringing in Skipper.
I'm
Like,
still cranky about that, okay? Like, Quincy Roche is my Andrew Bullbar, Malik Willis, all right?
oh, I hope. Oh, that's crazy too, isn't it? He doesn't.
Anyway,
Not
when I said open season on this show, I think it's open season. You and I going at each other
this is pretty
today.
much rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season. All right, it's skipper season
Let's
for
not
me,
get
mate.
back to duck season now. Let's not get back to duck.
Same thing. I thought Duck was okay. I thought he did all right when he had the chance to. He just got
Oh,
figured out.
Are you gonna really rile me up?
He got figured out near the end, pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like I was at that Bills game and you could tell that it was done. Like they needed to put in Mason. Anyway. Well, we've had a lot of good debate. I can't believe we spent 10 minutes of the 15-minute show so far talking about two bloody skipper.
Well, it all started with, in my opinion, because that's Omar Khan's first sign. I think it's his first sign to bring a player back. So, what a way to start his Hall of Fame career.
I do love, I gotta bring this up. Every time it disconnects, we get the scary bad icon, and Steelers Freak brings it up. He's like, "I'm waiting for the bad icon."
It sends me into a monologue huddle mode. I'm not ready for it. I'm like, what do I talk about?
Well, you had your chance. It was all about Tuzar Skipper, your favorite.
I said my piece on that, and I left it there. But it's just, look, I'm just saying it's ludicrous because you give the guy 4 days and he's already out the window. But all right.
That's hilarious. So obviously OTAs have been going on as well. I did want to go through like the steps between now and the season, but the Steelers are playing around with all those dates. Like I think there's a few more OTAs to go, and then there's another mini camp, and then there's training camp, and all that stuff's being sorted. Maybe it's got sorted out last night, but it is pretty early in the morning for Mark and I. But I know I listened to the preview. A replay of the preview, which obviously was on US Thursday night, which is Mark and my Friday lunchtime. I listened to the preview, I think like 9 p.m. our time last night. So about 6 hours, 7 hours after it went on air. And there was no update then. So anyway, basically, Mark, I guess going into the season right now, we've got some questions at quarterback. Got some questions. I think you and I have questions at running back. We've got questions now on the defensive line. Maybe some people are happy with where it was. I think a lot of people are being a bit unfair to Wormley. He had a career year last year. If we've got time for Tuzar Skipper, we've certainly got time for Chris Wormley. But I guess, how are you feeling? Because as I said at the start of the show, and as you and I were talking about off air as well, it is open season because we don't really know who's there's a lot of positions we don't know who's going to be that star in that room. We can see some things on paper. Other things, we're waiting for that depth chart, that perennial depth chart or proverbial depth chart to get, hammered to the wall, and that's your starting team week 1. But is there a position right now that's still standing out for you as like, you're not quite feeling comfortable, you're not quite sure, you're not happy with, who's there at the number 1 position?
I'm good.
You're all good. Completely all good. You're going to ruin that part of the show. All right. I'll pack up. You can do a tribute show.
I told you, overall, I think it's been a pretty good offseason. I think a lot of young guys coming in. We're all like 25, 26 years old. Yes, Tuitt retires at defensive line. Sure, that sucks, but I think they will fill that void with maybe like a Loudermilk or Leal could be in there. If they go out and get a friend, sure. But overall, maybe the possibility of the running back number 2. I don't know what's going to happen with Snell and McFarland. But when I did see McFarland carry the football, and now that he looks healthier, I'm like, there could be a chance, a bit of, optimism for him to carry the football, be there in number 26. And then you see some like articles and even vision of Snell running the football, and you're like, I want to give that guy another chance, see if he can run the football. But I think overall, if like maybe the weakest area, I don't. Maybe on offense it could be running back, and then on defense it might be cornerback. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm pretty happy with I just think at the moment how much people think we're going to fail and where we actually sit is a big difference. So I don't think we're not in any rebuild. We have a veteran quarterback in Trubisky. Maybe there could be questions at quarterback. We don't know, right? But we have a veteran guy in Trubisky who's going to lead.
Well, let's just pause there. Let's just pause there. So I want to explore that. I was in Draft Dude's podcast the other day, and they were talking on the Draft Network, and they were talking about this as one of the guys had the Steelers as being a team that will draft in the top 10 next year. So that's like less than 7 wins, pretty much, or less than 8 wins for sure. And then he was like, "Oh, they've got questionable quarterback play." And one of the other 2 guys were like, "Are you kidding? You've got Trubisky and Pickett. You've got to be pretty against the odds for both those guys to fail." But you bring up a really good point. Like, we don't really know whether it's going to work or not. Now, most of us, even if you put the Steelers fandom to one side, you think about Matt Cameron, you think about Mike Tomlin, you think about this organization, who they bring in. Trubisky does have a pretty decent resume. Pickett's coming out of some great experience in college and having done some great things, regardless if people think he was a 1-year wonder or a couple of year wonder. You're really right there, though. Like, this is and we talk about Ben and how much Ben slowed us down the last few years and that realization. And you remember, like, I love how much you're on that train, and like I was egging it on for a while behind the scenes. And you remember, like, the last almost 18 months, I've been scared to criticize that because I just don't want to deal with the backlash. But like, you've gone more on that train than me, and so like, I don't know. I want to get your feeling right now. Do you think do you think it's going to work? Do you think one of them's going to work out? Do you think both of them's going to work out? Like,
are you talking the train you're talking about how Big Ben slowed us down?
Yeah.
That is the 100% truth. I'll get backlash. I don't care. Bring it up.
Yeah. Oh, no, me too. Do you remember, like, I said that before last season when we talked?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Big Ben can't throw the ball.
That was during the season. I've now finally taken off my black and gold goggles and thinking he literally did slow us down for 2 years. We had no chance, or not no chance, but it's so weird. We had a chance to win at the same time we really didn't. The only time we had a chance to win was because when we got down like 40 points and he come back to help us. But there was no game plan. There was zero game plan for him to orchestrate the offense and actually have a game plan to, all right, okay, keep him on 20 and do this and do that. And then we get to this point, It was like, okay, Ben, we're in trouble. Can you help us win the game? I'll try, And he almost got us there, but never did. But now we have like a fresh new start with Trubisky, Pickett. Najee Harris looks like a champion. His thighs are the size of like tree trunks.
Did you see massive, that he's Rome Bettis weight now? He's primed Rome Bettis weight.
I'm not worried about the weight. I think he's all full of muscle. And I reckon we are better off than because Big Ben was like he did control a lot of things. Even if it's hard for us to say that because for me to say that because I'm like in Australia, but you look at it, there was no way that he was getting told what to do from Canada. There was no way he was getting told what to do from Mike Tomlin. If he went out there and went, "Oh, I want to throw the ball here now," Ben, we're up by 14 points. You don't need to throw it. I will throw it. I love the guy, but I'm so excited to see what can happen this year with Trubisky playing more as a team role in that with Canada and working with him to see what can happen. That's what I think. So, but you are right. Like you saw it last year and was like, well, if we didn't have Ben, who else would we have? We would have had Rudolph with Duck. But at the same time, it was just the exact same offense every single time. Every time.
Yeah. And I think the running back room, people talk about this well. Like, Snell's going to make it even, like, he's going to make it, like, as the third running back, even because of the special team stuff. I completely agree with that from Steelers Freak. We talk about McFarland being the odd man out with Eric. Again, that's something, we joke about on this show, and I've joked about it with Shannon White a million times. Like, McFarland just can't, he just trips over his own feet. Like, there are 4 or 5 running backs that I'm really interested in bringing in and just seeing, like Darrell Williams out of Darrell Williams out of the Chiefs. He's been injured the last couple of years, but bring him in and have a look at him. You've got guys like Corey Clement he's played at the Cowboys, but he was obviously with the Eagles. He's done some stuff in the league. Alex Collins, the Seahawks, Jordan Howard out of the Eagles. Jerick McKinnon's still there, open slather as well. Like, there are guys you can bring in to have a look at him. But like, we're talking third or fourth guys. I think Bad brought up a really good point on the preview the other night where he talked about there are going to be teams that see what they've got and that are looking to offload people going into the season or are looking to swap or might have an injury at a position, and that makes people available. Now, trading for a running back is not something you like to do, But if you've got a proven guy there that's under 28 on another team that, you feel is better or can do more for you in the run game than Benny Snell, spend a future 6th on him. Like, why not? You may as well bring someone in that's proven. Like, it's got to be a win now.
Well, you said it too, right? It's this roster right now is probably not the same roster that's going to go on the field in week 1, nor will it be the same roster going into week 9. So we have to remember that this is an ever-changing, depth chart, and same with the QB position. Week 1 will be different to maybe week 10 or week 17. Such a long season now. You can't predict who's going to be the starter the whole way through, unless you are a TJ Watt or a Cameron Hayward or Minka. Otherwise the O-line's going to change. People get injured, people get hurt. People get held out for different games. It's actually a fun reason why we watch football, right? The unexpected, And I think a lot of people are counting us out already, but I truly do think it's one of the best off seasons. Even bringing in Brian Flores, we don't talk about that much. Fantastic.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about Flores? Because I know you're a big fan.
Fantastic.
I'm like, I can't believe we've got him on the roster. Like, I think if the Steelers go, here's my big take, right? If the Patriots are more than 2 games out of the playoffs this season, which they could be, that roster is not that good, right? And if the Steelers have a top 10 defense and win at least a playoff game, Belichick out, Flores back to the Patriots. You watch.
Belichick out?
Yep.
Really? Well, I don't want to lose Flores.
I don't want to lose him either.
I think he's great. I always bring it up, but it's the game I saw last year was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. Was Dolphins versus Ravens. And
that was terrific. And he was like
unbelievable.
The box, like
unbelievable. I don't know what he was doing.
We were talking in that game. Didn't we watch half it together? Or like I don't know, Steelers or something like that. Like,
it was fantastic. Like the scheme of what he did, how to confuse Lamar Jackson. The overall defensive scheme was fantastic. He was pretty much rushing 7 or 8 every time, 75% blitz or whatever it was, for the whole game. And the other fellas, the cornerback and safety, you didn't know who was dropping, and they covered everyone, and they won the game. They tackled for loss. They had I forgot who the safety was. I think it might have been Holland. Holland was a safety down there. Got
Javon Holland. Yeah, that guy made me some money. I had a draft bet on him last year.
Yeah, but the linebackers, they all bought in. Like the whole team scheme on defense absolutely shut down the Ravens. And then the offense wasn't that great that game, but they won like 27, 25-9 or something. So if he can bring that attitude to the Steelers, and what I like about it is that he changed up the game plan for a certain game, right? And we know how what Dick LeBeau used to do and really study the game was fantastic to move the pieces around, right? And if he can bring that aspect to it, because people give Tomlin criticism all the time, he just had the same idea all the time. If we can bring Flores that idea to a fresh new face and ideas around and change it, because that game was fantastic. The Ravens were a favorite to win, 100%. And the Dolphins went out there, confused Lamar. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't run anywhere, couldn't pass anywhere. It was game over. So I'm so excited. He's a head coach. And yes, he's going through all that stuff that he's going through with the courts and stuff like that. So I wish him luck. But he's a head coach at the end of the day. His overall winning percentage got better. I think it was 5-11. I think it was like 10 and something, then 9 and 8. Like, he got better. His record is 20. It's almost half and half. Overall, there we go. Steelers Freak says he blitzed 10 players. Wow. 10 players 37 times. There you go. So there's only one player left.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
Yeah, always.
This is pretty nuts, actually, because I went out there to prove that he would add something to the Steelers coaching that he doesn't actually add. So I thought, I wonder how many challenges he's won. I know that sounds like a random thing, but that's something that Tomlin always gets criticism for. You know how he throws a challenge and he can't get it and he can't run timeouts and all the rest of it. So Brian Flores, I thought it was higher than this, but he's had thrown 19 challenges in his career as a coach, as the head coach, and he's won 8 of them for a win record of 42%.
That's not too bad.
What do you think Mike Tomlin's is? Mike Tomlin's had 84 challenges. What percentage do you reckon?
I think he's like 13%, isn't he?
42%.
Really? The same?
Yeah, I know. I was in
Oh,
shock.
wow.
I was like, yeah, Mike Tomlin has won 36 from 84.
There you go. That just shows you how the narrative can paint a picture.
But
Certain way.
he's had 3 seasons where he got none right.
It is hard though when you think about it because because the refs don't want to be wrong at the end of the day. I know much how we hate the refs, right? But like same in the NRL, if you make a choice and you challenge, the refs don't want to be wrong, do they? So
Steelers freak for people on the audio side when we're talking about the 10 blitzers said it was like a Viking raid on a nun monastery.
it was actually probably the game that probably was my game of 2021 last year was that Miami Dolphins game because it was so good to see that they could actually take care of Lamar Jackson the right way. They confused him so much.
You're gonna hate this. Actually, a lot of Steel fans are gonna hate this, but I'm a straight shooter, so it is what it is. And then I want to bring up Eric Askew's comment because it's a great question. My game of the year was when the Chiefs when the Bengals beat the Chiefs, just because I wanted to see Mahomes frustrated. And like the Chiefs ran it on 4th and like went backwards, and then it was a penalty, and then they like soaked up the game clock. And I know you don't want to hear that, Mark, and I know that helped them win the division, but I really enjoyed Mahomes getting beat by Joey Burrow and the Bengals. I liked it. It was just fun.
It's fine. They're still 0-3 in my heart, and like I said, they will never win a Super Bowl, so it's fine. But I just think overall, as a defensive,
it was a
scheme,
great game. It was one of the better games of the season for sure. The one you're talking about with the Dolphins Ravens. So Eric Askew brings up a point that I was thinking a little bit about this when you brought up Brian Flores. So he says, while Terrell Austin has the official title of defensive coordinator, do you think Flores will be more impactful? Now, what I was going to say was, and then go ahead and answer the question, of course, Mark. If you're Terrell Austin, you can look at this one of two ways. No, Brian Flores is coming for my job. Or you can go, this is my first year as defensive coordinator. I deal really with the defensive backs in the secondary. This actually is going to alleviate a lot of pressure on me and help make me look good, kind of thing. So I don't know. How do you see what I've suggested there? And do you think Flores will be more impactful? And ultimately, that's going to be a very hard thing to judge because really all the units need to be cohesive together. And all the defensive line changes that we've talked about and Tuitt leaving, it's almost like Carl Dunbar with the way that the run defense was last year. Carl Dunbar is almost the most important guy on defense right now. But how do you feel about these defensive coaches and Flores and Austin and, who's going to make an impact?
Well, I don't think, I don't think there's any pressure that he's going to take his job or nothing like that, right? Because at the end of the day, once they know their roles and what they're doing with the team, they're all going to play for the team. But to be impactful, I think, Terrell Austin will have probably a bit more less pressure knowing that Flores can go out there and help. And you think about the linebackers we do have, besides adding in your mate Skipper, right? That it's a pretty decent linebacking core and defense as well. You have TJ Watt and Highsmith for the starters, right? So, and then you bring in head coach ability of Flores and now Austin too. There's less pressure for him to focus on that. But all these heads getting together, it's going to hopefully be a masterpiece that we can go out there and do like the Dolphins did to the Ravens. Because we need to confuse in the AFC North. We need to get to Burrow, right? Also, we don't know who the quarterback for the Browns is at the moment. That is complete. Oh my Lord. That's just who knows what's going on over there.
Oh, mate, Deshaun Watson's not playing this year. I mean, especially after the comments that were made overnight. And I've said that since the moment they traded him. And
that could be the biggest blunder in a like getting Watson.
It's so Browns.
Isn't it?
It's so Browns.
Yeah. Like and they've now tread on Baker's toes so much. Where does Baker even want to be a Brown?
You know what? It's going to get better. They're going to trade. They're going to trade for like a Carson Wentz next season. I just see it.
They've really shot themselves in the foot. But we need to. They got to figure out Lamar Jackson and Burrow because they're highly talented quarterbacks, and I think that's the reason why they brought in a guy like Flores too. Because I think it's going to help out the team overall. I'm really excited for this defense. I'm excited for defense every year. But if they're healthy, And with the addition too of Miles Jack as well to also revamp up Devin
Yeah,
Bush.
I'm big on that. I agree. I'm really
Like,
big on
there's a
that.
lot of things here that I think hopefully we can get back the winning way. And what I've seen too from this year as well, and maybe because Big Ben is now out of the loop, I don't know, but they seem more cohesive and more like a brotherhood where Gentry and Frymouth were joking a lot around with the team, and Cameron Hayward's joking around. It does feel more like they're a brotherhood this year than previous years. I don't know if you see the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was a podcast that talked about this a little while ago, and I think it was with Shannon and might have been Jeffrey Benedict. I can't remember who was on it. It's exactly what you talked about there. Ben came from this old school steal away, and we're still the steal away, right? And I hate calling it like this because there's a Patriot way, but it's just being a stealer and what that means in the culture, right? That doesn't mean that you can't have a bit of fun and have a muck around. You've got to take things seriously, but you've also got to enjoy. Like, at the end of the day, from May through January, right? We're talking 9 months of the year, basically, if not more, really. Particularly if you're in the rookies, you are spending time with these guys. Like these guys, these brothers. Anyone that's played a contact sport knows the camaraderie that you build as well. Like. Dave Schofield tries to distract us with a comment that's, actually it's a bit on Dave. It's a bit on Dave, but anyway.
Dave's been hacked.
Yeah, Dave's been hacked. It's two-star skipper. You're gonna have to get rid of him.
Oh no, mate.
Anyway, I want to go back to it, but what was he saying? Yeah, camaraderie. And so, like, when you've got that divide where like there's this old grumble bum in the room, basically like, oh, I don't do this, I don't do that, and Ben. I'm not saying it was wrong, and it worked for the time. But people have changed. And that was what was really interesting about the Ike Taylor interview with Pat McAfee. They talked about Tomlin, and Pat McAfee was talking about the fact that Tomlin last season got asked if he was going to USC. Remember that famous press conference where he slapped that thing down? And Ike Taylor was like, he's only just getting started. Like, you look, because they said, oh, well, Mike Tomlin leaves soon, and Ike's like, no, and he's actually made like 90 mil, over 90 mil in coaching and But he said he's not going to finish him because he feels like he can relate to these players. He's got kids that are in this player's generation. And yes, I think there's an old school way to how the Steelers do things. I think there's the Tomlin old school way of hitting people and smash mouth. But I do think there's this modern culture. And I do think they're going to need to do that to keep guys like a Pickens, guys like even get the best out of Claypool. We saw in retrospect what Tomlin did with AB and Lav Bell and kept that all together. Even Justin Harrison, who you talk about, it wasn't perfect, but they kept him, rocking and rolling, and look at what he was able to do. And I think Mike Tomlin's going to be able to do that better than what he has. And that's why when you see things like the Steelers are going to have a losing record or the Steelers are going to be fourth in the AFC North, it's actually ridiculous to say that because, history suggests that that's not going to be the case. This roster is better overall. They have two quarterbacks that can throw the ball.
They have two quarterbacks, Muth in the second year, Najee in the second year. What we're saying now is every Steelers fan knows this. On the in the old the wage betting stuff here in Australia, the Steelers are fourth and the Browns are first to win the division. How are the Browns the first to win the division without a quarterback? I don't know. I seriously do not know.
Davis? Is this Bad's dad? It might be. I enjoyed that show when you've appeared on. If it is Bill Davis, but yeah,
that's exactly right. Though winning builds camaraderie as well, and I think even one of the fellas said it. Like they're starting to, if you can build friendship, might have been Cam. You build friendships and mateship now, and this in the training camp, going to mini camp, and there isn't too many distractions. DJ was like really the only distraction. Other than that, they're all going out there to fight. They're all going out there to be competitive. This year, out of all the years, is yes, we have a new quarterback, but we still don't know who it's going to be. So that makes Trubisky be better. And they're going out there to start here to build the foundation and then push on. But like I said, the Browns are favorite to win the division. And I just don't see it. How do you have that so much distraction? You don't even know who your quarterback is.
Well, that's it. And the thing for me is like, this to me, I feel like we are going to look back in 2 or 3 years' time and go, this was the retool. Like, as much as people don't want to think this is a rebuild, this was a significant retool, or let's call it a renovation, like a home improvement kind of thing. And hopefully it's successful, but I think we'll look back on it and go, that's what it was. And there's some really good young guys, particularly on offense, and that's going to be a big deal. That is going to be a really big deal.
100%. Even the Steelers fixers are there. Harris is now king hammering his weight. Like he's the second year guys. I always like to watch second year guys.
Yep.
We talked about it before, right? And now Muth is getting really comfortable in his skin too.
Oh, he's going to be.
Just to see how his mannerisms and like how he is as a person, and you can see he can probably control the offense and help out, right? I'm not like, I just say, guys, like this is the year to be the best underdog, because we have a chance to be a really horrible team that everyone thinks we are, and in reality, they got better in so many areas. Yes, there's still the line may not be the best for you, Skipper and those guys coming in that may not be the best, or cornerback, right? Or is Peverell, is he the best guy next to Minka? But you look at all the key pieces that we have in a brand new start, and no one thinks we're going to win. That is the most intriguing part about this whole offseason, to me anyway.
Yeah. And that's why I think it goes back to Tyler today's show, which I'm glad that we've landed there toward the end of the show. Be open-minded in this open season. Be really open-minded, because, you and I went through the records a couple of weeks ago, and Joseph Brown brings it up. Like, I went through the record, and honestly, all things being equal, and we know that some teams, have injuries, some teams on paper look great, and then they have terrible starts to the season, things don't work. Like, the Steelers could be, to me, they're anywhere between 9 and 13 wins, 100%. I mean, you had them at 14 wins, didn't you, when we did it?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
no, I agree with that. They could go out there, depending how things flow, right? Because you need to get into a winning streak near the end too, right? So, but I think even the first four is going to be really hard. Bengals, Patriots, but I just really, if we like, I just saw a week 2 preview, but I don't see Mac Jones coming into town and winning. I just don't. Not with this defense. If the defense is healthy, and it's like, okay, we have all our ducks in order. Open season. I just do not see how Mac Jones can go out there and throw 3 touchdowns, score 21 points, and win. That's just me. Now, the harder one is going to the Bengals to win, but everyone on paper, every NFL fan already thinks we've lost and we're 0-1. So it's exactly the same scenario as last year going to the Bills, and it's a better team. It depending who we start at quarterback, but you're telling me that Najee and guys like him aren't ready? Now, come on, man.
Najee's ready.
They're ready. They are so ready.
But they still have to be, like, I know he's put on the weight. I know he did the workload last year. But if they don't manage snaps with him, like, I'm going to be really disappointed, because we need him. Like, if we want to win playoff football, you need Najee fresh. You can't have Najee.
He was frustrated that they weren't doing tackling yet. He wanted to get physical or something like that.
100%, because he wants to get that into him. Yeah.
Yeah. He wants to feel. Yeah. He wants to get that through those paces. I can see him going for the preseason, doing a few reps. I think to me, he's one to watch. And I know. Look. Say for instance, right? If you're a Steelers fan, this is the way I see it: is watching the players progress, get better, get worse, and seeing them as not just winning, the championship. But for me, a guy to watch this year is Najee's progression. Of how he's
say to Skipper.
No. Of how Najee's got better. Because here's the thing, right? This is what I always forget as we get older and grey in the hair for me, right? Cameron Hayward is near the end of his career, and you go, what?
Yeah, I know.
It's over. Need to enjoy what Najee is doing with this offense. Need to enjoy what Muth is going to do with this offense, because it's going to be fresh air in that offense for sure. I'm telling you, you got to enjoy these little moments to where. If he starts to carve it up, let's get behind him, because you got to enjoy that ride. Because sometimes we get to the end of it with Cameron Hayward's, hasn't won a Super Bowl with him yet. It could be over soon, and then that's it. So,
yeah, I want to bring up this one. They stunk worse than the 60s team last year. How they won 9 games is a miracle in itself. I don't remember them making the playoffs in the 60s, but okay, Alan, you've had a lot of negativity in the live chat. If you don't like it, I don't know why you're listening to Steelers shows in the off season if you're that down on the team. Like, I don't know. We love everyone listening, but have a bit of positivity. Be open-minded. If there's anything you take away from this show, please be open-minded.
That comment's funny too, though. They're worse than the 60s teams. The game was different. That's like 40 years difference. No, sorry, 60 years difference in the game. Like back then in the 60s, I wasn't alive, but looking at highlights, you could coat hanger people. You could hold them in the ground and punch them in the face while you're down there. I was watching the other day, Super Bowl, I think it was 9. I literally saw a Steeler come over the middle and knock out a Viking with like 2 fists to the face while he was in the air. Like the game was different. Like you can't judge that. In my opinion, you can't judge 60s versus 2020 because you can't do anything in 2022. But back then you can knock their head off.
Only played, was it 12 games back then? Top of my head. 12 or 14
And
games.
the whole idea of the gridiron was different. They didn't throw the ball. The schemes weren't the same. They had, you go back and watch Franco Harris and Rocky Blyer, which I wish they could bring back. I want to see a 2-back set. I love that. I love that, like the mystery of who you're going to hand it to, left or right. You know, I love the 2-back set.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's righto. But Mark, I think that pretty much wraps up this week's Steelers Touchdown Under. I'm Matty Peverell with Marky D, as always.
Yeah, well, thanks for checking out the show. And Tuesday Skipper will make the team. That is the 100. No, I can't say 100% guarantee, but thank you for checking out.
You know what? 100% guarantee it. 100% guarantee it. And I've got the receipt. And when he doesn't make the team, I'm going on a rant.
All right then. No, I can't do. You should never.
No, do it. Money where your mouth is. Show some balls. Play some, real true, real football, 1960 style, as Alan Olive likes. Go on, prove it. Go on, back.
All right then. 99% sure that Tuesday Skipper will make the team.
99%. No. Yeah. He either makes the team or he doesn't. Does he make the team or does he not?
We haven't got any more time, Matty. I think we have to go.
Mark, I'll sit here. I'll cop it from back. We need an end to the debate. Does he make the team or does he? Say it. See this? All right. Say it.
I reckon he will. Here's my thought. I think that Tuesday Skipper will make the team because it'd be Highsmith, TJ Watt, and then we have he could play over Jannard Avery. I think I can never pronounce his name. Tuska will make the team. So you have 5 outside linebackers.
Not picking 5 with no.
He makes the team.
All right. I don't think he does.
So I don't know. We'll see. Oh yeah. Go Steelers.